All right. Make sure you guys also bring up the chat if you haven't done that yet. All right.
Chat right here.
Hello, everybody. We are live. Sorry about the delay there. Just had to talk about the event, the show, things going on, preparation, you know what I mean? So, anyway, we got the Travelers Championship going on today. For any of you guys that are just watching from YouTube, because I do make this a public video just for random souls, probably just sitting on their Xbox or PlayStation on YouTube or something like that. You're not going to be able to see our page on Facebook where we chop up all of this information even farther in more detail. A lot more than an hour or two of video is covered in the Facebook group, especially with the U.S. Open. I think we had almost 1,000 comments, didn't we, guys? Like we were up there. We had a lot of information going. So obviously that's a major, and that probably won't stay at that level. But we have more golf viewers and participants than we've had before. So onto this event real quick, guys. We're doing the TPC River Highlands. It's 6,000. I can't remember the exact yardage. 6,840, I believe. It's in that range. Obviously, if you played the U.S. Open last week, we all know that's a 1,000-yard difference. That's big. That means there's four less par fives, or two less par fives. It's a Pete Dye course, just like the RBC Heritage. Let's see what else. The Players Championship this year was as well. And there's one other course I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, that's what I got. Anything else you guys want to talk about in the intro? I have some key stats. We can go back and forth, but anything you guys want to talk about to start?
Well, what do you want to get into first? What's up, guys, by the way?
Yeah. I was just introducing yourself, guys. Like, just whatever you guys wanted to say to start.
Yeah, so it's the first time we're doing three of us all together. Dex obviously started this up and then brought me on, and now Andrew's in the crew. So I think it's going to be a pretty cool thing we're doing. I couldn't make it last week. I apologize, but
hello.
Yeah, we lost him just for a second there. I think he muted his mic or it cut out.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess do you want to do the same layout as last week, where we break it down to some tiers and talk about some plays?
Yeah, of course, man. That sounds good. I do first want to just let's give a layout of the course. Well, not the course really, but just the key stats. It is a very short course.
Par 70, I believe.
That's right. That's right. And it is a birdie course. This is the second lowest scoring course in terms of the most birdies, obviously. Just so the people that aren't as aware in golf, when I mean lowest, I don't mean like bad. We mean good. Other than I think is the John Deere event is the most birdies are on that event. And I think that's coming up pretty soon. Anyway, but we're looking at guys ball strikers, and you're going to see a lot of birdies. Brandon Steele, for example, is getting a lot of talk. I don't want to get straight into names, but this guy shot like a 58 or like something gnarly in his first round a couple years ago, like 12 under in his first round. So this is definitely, if your guys are in the positive on Thursday, you're probably not going to make the money. Like this is a huge stark turnaround from rare 6 out of being able to cash with 4 out of 6 and maybe even 3 out of 6 somehow. If you had high placing in the U.S. Open, you're going to have 5 out of 6 guaranteed for this event. So is Seth still gone there? I'm looking at some information. So is Seth, you there, man? Is he still? I think he's still. His mic's out still. So anyway, I just got a couple stats. Andrew, we can go back and forth if you have anything to add. I just have the ones that are on the Facebook page. So everyone on the Facebook page is nothing new. I'm not gonna.
Oh, I had it muted. Sorry, guys. You hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
All right. Yeah. Anyway, feel free to add in anytime, guys. Just got a few stats. We're gonna go into them exactly while we talk about the certain plays. So I'm not gonna bring any links into it or anything, but strokes gained tee to green, which is almost every single week. That's just a normal stat.
Yeah.
Then we got par 4 efficiency for me, 400 to 450, strokes gained approach, green and regulations, which I think everyone would agree on this week. That's big. And ball striking for me. A lot of people are doing good drive percentage or a certain driving statistic, but for me, I'm doing a ball striking stat, which isn't as well proven or tried as much, but I like the names, and I think it kind of combines like the driving stats with green and regulation stats and like mixes them. So anyway, any other stats you guys are looking at? And we'll start with Andrew, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, tee to greens. I mean, I don't think there's many courses that you wouldn't want to have that as one of your favorite stats. And par 4 efficiency, especially because I believe there's like 8 par 4s on this course, if I recall, 8 or 9. I have the information in front of me, but yeah,
I think there might be 10, honestly.
Yeah, it's a par 70. It's got two par 5s and 2 par 3s, so it's actually got
12.
Yeah, it's got 12 par 4s, and they range. I mean, I think the majority of them are between 4 and 450, but there's one, I believe it's a 15th hole. I used to go to this event. I lived in Connecticut for a little over a year, and I went to this event twice, actually. It's a really nice course. It's a stadium course, where they've got these fairways that are kind of like, they've got these huge hills. They're almost like set up like bleachers, but it's all grass. It's like mounds for everybody to sit on. And you can actually see, and I forget who, one of the golfers said it's the best finishing 4 holes in golf because it surrounds this 4-acre lake. The 15th hole, basically everyone is going for it. It's like a long par 3, basically. You got water down the left, you got a bunker on the right, but pretty much everyone out there can hit it with driver. There's some guys that can't even pull driver on that hole because it's just too short for them. A guy like Rory or Bubba, I mean, these guys will drive it right over the green on that hole. But it's really a cool place to hang out because you can see 4 holes from one vantage point. You're seeing that short par 4, then it's like 150-yard par 3, the 16th, and then the 17th is like a shortish par 4, maybe 370, 380, I think. And then you really can't see much of 18, actually. You're only seeing those 3 holes because 18 is just a straight par 4, kind of on the narrow side. A lot of guys, I saw a lot of guys going in the rough, but the rough isn't really much to worry about. I mean, it's been a number of years since I've been out there, but I remember guys were just tearing the place up. I mean, there's so many birdies to be had at this course. It's ridiculous. And on top of that, I don't know if you guys saw the green information as far as how slow the greens run here, but they're around a 10 on the stim meter.
Right, putting's almost irrelevant at this point.
Yeah,
I mean skill wise,
it's ridiculous how slow they are, and especially guys coming over here from the U.S. Open. I'm sure they have to make some kind of adjustment because those greens were flying.
Yeah,
and over here it's going to be like perfect conditions for like one of those country club kind of courses.
That's why
it's not a challenge.
A lot of people this week are saying those guys who usually are known as bad putters, you might want to put them in your lineups this week.
Yeah, definitely. And guys that are streaky putters too.
Streaky putters.
Since you mentioned that Bubba Watson won that. Supposedly, I gotta give credit. It was Pat Mayo, I believe. I heard this. He said like Bubba Watson made 37 out of 37 like putts from like 10 to 15 feet or something, or like something like that. Like 37 for 37, did not miss a single one the whole week at the Travelers, and he's won this event twice. So, not to get into the plays early, that's just a sneak peek of guys like Bubba Watson, who's in terrible form right now, has won this event twice. So, I mean, he's obviously been good in the past. So, but if you look at the recent winners, it's not like it's the cream of the crop. Like, and before we get into these plays, we do have some quality names in this field as well compared to years past. Like Russell Knox is the winner from last year, and we've got like 5 of the top 10 guys in the world right now coming to this event, which after a major, as we all know, or most of us know, that usually does not occur.
Yeah, this is actually pretty stacked for right after a major.
That's
this
why
is the strongest field I've ever seen here.
Build up so quick as well. I feel like because there's still so many good names. It's almost like people were like there. Before we get started, I do want to shout out some tournaments here because I actually need to get in some of these real quick as they're filling quick. I was lucky a couple of days ago. I just decided to reserve myself in the $12 Albatross, I believe it's called, like 1,600 people. So I've had that reserved for a couple of days now. That filled up like a few hours ago, and they have one more that has 722 people. It's got 674, so that's about to fill. They've got the 3-entry max scramble $20 entry that has 578. 465 are in there, so that's about to fill. And then for guys like ACP here, Andrew here, they got the 333 Club Pro that's about to fill. Only 6 spots left, 94 out of 100. And the tournament that I really want to get into, but I don't know if I want to go all three, is the 3 max special that I think they had on the Facebook group. You guys know. I mean, not the Facebook group. Excuse me, the Twitter poll. Sorry, I'm tripping. And if you guys check that out, it's a 3-entry max. It's $50 though, so it can get rather expensive, but it's not top heavy. The difference between first and sixth is $2,000. Usually you see shit like 7-8 grand, just stupid numbers. So I don't know. I didn't want to spend too much time shouting out tournaments, but has most of them have filled, like the $8 big tournament filled, the dog leg filled, the fantasy golf qualifier filled, even the mini dog leg filled. There's been 2 dog legs that have filled. It's nuts. So make sure you guys get in your tournaments. Sorry if you guys heard any of that noise there. I got my messengers popping up on my computer because I got a MacBook, and it's anyway. All right, guys, let's get straight into it. So let's start up here at the top. I've got a couple models. I made one normal model that encapsulates everything. All my stats that I'm looking at. Nothing efficiency wise because obviously Fantasy Labs can't do all that, but green regulation, scrambling, driving accuracy, birdie score, field score, because I think in this type of field, minus the top 5 guys, I think some of the guys down low, like you're looking for those elite plays, you're gonna have to look at guys that do well in low fields. Like, gotta give a shout out to Seth here real quick again. For a few weeks ago, we had the Ches Reavie call, and even Wee Kim is on our radar now, so that's gonna be the little, like, we gotta look to Seth for that. That's the shout there. So anything you guys gotta add before we actually get into the plays, stat wise or anything else, doesn't matter.
Jacob has given us a link, I guess.
All right, yeah. So I didn't have the comments brought up. It's hard to have everything.
Yeah, and what are we seeing on? Okay, now I see something on the screen there. Let me see what this is about. The media guide.
Go to statistics, more statistics. Here, let's see.
Trying to pull it up here. Okay, go statistics, more. Well, I got that page, but I don't see where statistics come up.
Probably have to do this in a little bit. We'll do it. I'll check it out. Here, I'll bookmark this. Here, let me copy.
Oh, he was showing Joe how to find efficiency stats, which actually that's something that I was going to start looking for, but I didn't. It's not something that you find on PGA. Is it something on PGAtour.com?
They have the stat, but they don't have any information in it.
Well, yeah,
I swear I saw it a couple days ago.
But maybe Jacob knows where it's at. I mean, with that link. On that page, where do you go? PGA Tour? I don't see anything about statistics.
I don't know. I think we should let's just carry on with the show. We'll do it a little bit.
It's on the top row. Oh, here we go. I got it.
I clicked on statistics, but I'm there too, but I don't see anything else.
You're not seeing anything?
Nothing that says more statistics or efficiency. I have some through the man. My bad, guys. Let me text my brothers. My phone's going to my computer. Sorry, guys. hate to do that on live, but anyway, I do have a stat brought up here. But anyway, let's just get to we gotta get through.
Yeah, go ahead.
We can't.
Whatever you got, lay it
Hunter
out there.
Pence just hit a dinger for the Giants, boys.
Yeah.
But Nick Ahmed did it a little earlier too. But all right, let's get into it. So let's. Oh, sorry, guys, I might have been real loud with my mic. I accidentally almost pulled it out there. My apologies. So let's get right to it. Let's get right to the plays. Start at the very top. We've got. Oh, that's my pool. I was about to say.
Yeah, I guess
Rory.
if you don't have any D-backs, you're dead.
Sorry, what was that?
I guess if you don't have any D-backs, you're pretty much dead tonight.
Oh yeah, I was looking all right, but with that many runs, it's not looking good.
No.
It was looking good at first when I had Encarnacion or not Encarnacion, but Lindor and I had somebody else over there. Like Chisenhall got me a stolen base towards the end. I was like, all right, I might make out min cash, but now it's not looking good. Anyway, we got 4 studs at the top. Obviously, I actually like Paul Casey is one of my favorite plays personally this week. But the 4 studs are for the highest earners, just the best golfers in the world. We got Rory, Jason Day, Spieth, and JT, Justin Thomas, with the infamous 63 on Saturday at the U.S. Open last week. Wasn't able to capitalize on that, obviously. So a lot of people, it's going to be tough to read on him if it's going to be a fade, or if people are going to buy in the narrative that he's kind of embarrassed that he went out like that and he's going to come out. And that's why I showed up to this event, because a lot of studs don't. And after showing like that, most guys are going to go try to practice their game, but he decided to show up to this event. So, and I think as well, I believe I put in my post, I think all proceeds, all money raised for this event goes to charity. So that may be another reason these guys do it, at least partly. So at least the studs, because they're already well paid, they're not really worried about it. I mean, they obviously get paid, but I mean, they're trying to help as well. So, and it's an easy course, as we mentioned. So let's get right into it. So we got Rory, Jason Day, Spieth, and JT, as I mentioned. So you guys, let's just stop it right there from those top 4 at that range. ACP, man, who do you like? Who are you like teetering on, and who's your straight fade, you think, man, as of right now?
So as opposed to last week where I was doing multi-entries, this week I am only doing single bullet. So, and the only guy from these top 4 that I'm playing right now, of course, that you guys might persuade me to look into the others, right now is Justin Thomas. I think after what happened last week and on Sunday, how he didn't perform as he wanted, I think this is a perfect time for him to redeem himself and come out swinging. Now, like you were saying on that spectrum, I don't know how owned he's going to be. I can't really get a read on if people are going to be off of him, because on Sunday he pretty much, he didn't collapse, but he didn't perform as he was supposed to perform, or if people are still going to be on his 63 shot for that week. So I don't know, but I'm actually going to be fading top 3 and playing Justin Thomas. What about you? What about you guys?
Yeah, Seth, go ahead, man.
I'm actually considering, I think a lot of people are catching on to the fact. I watched. You watched the Fantasy Labs last podcast. They started to mention similar things that we've been talking about like how contrarian you have to be lately in golf. And obviously last week was just completely out of the ordinary. I mean, I talk about getting contrarian and fading guys at the top, but I never seen anything like that. I think there were about 1,200 6 of 6s. There were actually the same number of 0 of 6s as there were 6 of 6s, from what I heard.
Yeah,
it's insane. But I'm trying to get it. I mean, it's really difficult this week, based on how many of these guys burned people. Because a lot of people did get really burned last week trying to pick the right guy up top, and even people that got it right, to get 6 of 6 was near impossible, unless you had like max lineups. I mean, Andrew, you had max lineups. How many 6 of 6s did you have?
Yeah, so I had max lineups, and I believe I only had 4 out of 4. I mean, 4 out of 150 have 6 out of 6 make the cut.
Wow.
Well, and like I was telling you guys personally, uh, the lineup that had 5 out of 6 did better than all 4 of those ones that had 6 out of 6. So it was a pretty crazy week last week.
Oh man.
Yeah. Same. I mean, I had a 5 out of 6. It was pretty decent. Unfortunately, a few of those guys kind of backed up on Sunday, and I didn't have the winner. I didn't have it. I had some Brooks, but I didn't have him in that lineup. I wish I did, because it would have been pretty nice. Because I had a couple really good guys in that lineup. But there was actually. Let me pull up that sheet because I actually.
Well, yo, real quick, between Rory, Jason Day, Spieth, and JT, man, who are you think about playing the most, and who don't you like, and who do you like 50-50 on? You think like maybe could decide the entire like slate, maybe like the entire tournament? Do you think maybe? I guess is the way to put it. I don't want to veer off too much because I know these guys are mainly here. I love chopping up the actual information, but I know a lot of these guys are here just to
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. We'll get to it. But
like
those four
offline.
guys
We
up
can chop
top,
this up all the time, man. I'm down for that all the time because I know the knit guys want to hear this, but
I think form wise, I agree with Andrew. I mean, out of the 4, I'd have to say JT is probably the best pick out there, and I would think that, man, the ownership aspect is tough because people are going to see that 63 and say, "Damn, this guy's playing really good. He shot a 63 at the Open, and he almost won it." And these other guys, 2 of them didn't make the cut. Spieth was like mediocre at best. So, in that top tier, I think JT might be the chalky guy up there. And as much as I want to take him out of the 4, I might fade all 4, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't fault you for fading all 4, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I'm going to fade those guys.
I think the real question is, do we think, obviously we know our answers now, but do we think any of these top 4 guys are going to win it this week? Can we see that? Rory played shit first day, and then the second day had a pretty decent round. So I can't really get a read on Rory. Day, yeah, he didn't really perform. And then Spieth, as we know, he made the cut and just he could not putt last week. But like we were saying on this course, I don't think putting really plays as big a factor. So is Spieth somebody we can look at?
I don't think Rory's ever played here, right? He's got no history.
Yeah, I don't think he has either.
right.
And it's not really, from what I heard, it's not set up for him.
Yeah, no, he kills the ball, and this isn't so much of a bomber's course. He's not.
Right.
I mean, I'm personally, I wasn't going to play Rory anyway. I mean, he doesn't seem like he's that invested really in winning these smaller events to me personally. Like, I don't know. I mean, you guys saw his recent tweet to what was his name? I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, the guy said like, Rory, come on, man, you got a $50 million bankroll or something like that, and then he like tweeted back at him. Just for the people that don't know, but tweeted back at him saying like, actually, mate, it's 200 mil.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Steve Elkington.
Yes,
This guy's a jerk. Him and Johnny Miller can go screw themselves. I mean, they're total jerks, the 2 of them.
But yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna be on Spieth personally. I mean, his Vegas, his odds. It takes a good bit for odds to move at the very top, and he's moved solely down to 8 now at plus 800. McIlroy is at 10, and JT's at 11. He has actually crossed days, so we do see a lot of movement coming on JT. I actually am trying. I have not actually tried any lineup construction yet. I've been so busy with baseball. I've been reading this book by Jonathan Bales of Fantasy Labs, and I've been just trying to construct baseball lineups. So that's where all the money really is. So, but when I got onto this golf, I'm really trying. Like for me personally, I'm gonna try to construct a Spieth Casey lineup and see what I can do. I really do not want to go below 7K, but I do not want to get there yet. We will definitely get there. So those are Spieth is my play. I'm also ACP mentioned earlier that he's mainly just doing single bullets or only doing single bullets, and I'm in that exact same boat. I am not. Dogleg's already been full, 2 of them. I will say this: if I am doing a single bullet, I have found success in when it gets close to lock. When there's a smaller dog leg, like 170 person dog leg, where first place may only get $300, it's still $33 there. That's not the exact amount, but it's something like that. I like to join those with a single bullet because you're only really able to max out maybe 3 or 4, and I've done that in baseball, and I'm not really the best MLB DFS player currently, and that's usually when I cash, is when I join smaller tournaments like that. But anyway, so let's go down to that range right below there. Unless you guys have any take on the Vegas movement there with JT, I thought that was pretty. Wasn't Jason Day at better odds than him, or did I miss that? Am I tripping?
I think. Well, what you're talking about last week?
No. For the Travelers right now, I don't have opening odds. I need to. Seth, do you by chance know the opening odds? Like, I know you have Fantasy Fanatics there, so by chance.
The opening odds.
I know they have some like unique webs like stats and stuff like that, or just information. Unless 5 Dime shows opening odds as well. Odd Sharks does, but not for golf. Only like not big sports, but like UFC, boxing, like football, baseball.
I think I can tell you. Hold on, let me see.
Let's see.
That's not the one. It's best odds. Is it odds checker? That might be it. Yeah, I think this is it right here. All right, so let me pull up the tournament. View all odds.
Yeah, okay, so as of June 21st on Bovadas earlier today, Spieth was tied with McIlroy at 10-1. JD or Jason Day, I should say, and JT, Justin Thomas, were tied at 12. And then there was no movement with Casey or Snedeker earlier today. It's all still the same. So that is honestly, from 10-8 is some solid movement on Spieth. I was already on Spieth with this being a birdie tournament. I know we mentioned that putting may not matter, even though Spieth is a solid putter. So for me, actually, that may be a bonus because he might be able to hit those 30-foot putts or anything like that. Just I'm on Spieth this week. I'm willing to pay 11-4 for him. His form has been pretty good very recently, not so much a few weeks ago. He did have a couple bad rounds. So that's where I'm at. And if you guys want to go down to the next range, we got we're looking at, let me sort by salary. I accidentally keep going by my rating. We got Casey. Let's go from 9.7 down just to 9K. We got about 6 guys.
This chunk. I just want to reiterate real quick to the audience is that don't think that we don't think any of these 4 guys can win, because any of these 4 guys can literally get onto this course and just shoot the lights out. Day and Rory and Spieth and all these guys, these are all top golfers for a reason. So don't be taken off of any of your picks just because we're talking about, one of us likes JT or the other guy likes Spieth. It's like last week, we kind of slept on Ricky Fowler a little bit, mainly because we thought he was going to be highly owned, and he ended up being lesser owned because everybody pretty much thought he was going to be higher owned. So just play your plays at the top, guys. Any one of these guys can win it. But back to
world-class golfers. I mean, top 4 of the best in the world. So anyone, you couldn't have said it better. So right there, ACP, you got it, man. Take it over from there. We got 9,700 down to Brendan Steele at 9K.
Yeah, so this 9K rating is pretty juicy, man. I know a lot of people like Paul Casey this week. I mean, I like Paul Casey. A lot of people like Snedeker, especially with his course history here too, and he's been hot. And I see no reason for not liking him. A lot of people like Leishman. I mean, Berger just came off a win not too long ago, and we all know how I feel about Steele, and he's been playing super hot. He's made every cut he's been in. There's a lot of money in this range. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the winner came from this 9K range. I think I'm doing a single bullet, so if I'm going with JT at that top range, I'm sticking with my boy Steele at this range. His stats line up, and he's been very hot. And I think, you were saying that he's played this course before, he shot like a course record or something like that?
That's Furyk. Furyk shot Yeah.
Furyk.
Oh, it's Furyk that shot the 58. I misspoke.
Last year, yeah, Sunday last year.
My bad.
Okay.
My apologies, guys, for everyone that heard me say that earlier. Then it was not steal. My fault.
Okay.
He might have shot
I think he shot an opening round
record.
63, maybe. It wasn't super good. Maybe I might be wrong. I'm sorry. My bad.
I could probably tell you here. Let me see. Course history on Brendan Steele. He did win at 20 under back in 2011, so it might have been, tournament low score. That might have been the record.
Who are you talking about? Because I was talking about Brendan Steele. Were you talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Oh, because it says in 2011 he got 13th in the Travelers.
Oh, then I'm looking at a score that wasn't his. Hold on. Let me look at who it was. It was Freddie Jacobsen, actually. So you're saying Brendan Steele has some sort of record here?
I think he meant Furyk. I
may be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure.
So Furyk we know has the low round, but there's also, low tournament score. There's first round records. There's all kinds of records, but single round record goes to Furyk. I mean, the tour record in general, nobody's ever shot a 58 on tour except for Furyk.
Right. Yeah. Now that if that, yeah, I believe you 100% on that. It wasn't Steele then. Yeah, don't worry about me. Scratch me on that. But Brandon Steele is a good play. I believe.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. He is.
You guys know how I like to always bring the mindset sort of side to this DFS stuff, and for the audience, I want to kind of whatever DraftKings algorithm is to build these lineups and their pricings. Don't be put off from a guy because of he might seem overpriced, and like they like to tempt people with underpricing too. Like last week, Ann was 6,900, who he's made every cut, and then obviously he was a trap, and that's in retrospect. But guys like Brooks, where he was just priced high enough to where people were off of him, right underneath those studs and right before those those mid-tier, higher tier plays. So when you guys are looking at these prices, if you see a guy who seems it might seem over a little priced, but his stats fit the course, don't be afraid to play him. That's why I'm going to be on Steele. Snedeker's another one that I really like this week. I think everybody's really talking about him. And then Paul Casey, those would be my top players from this range. But
how about you, Seth? Oh, sorry. Unless you
no, go ahead.
My bad.
Yeah, I mean that's this range here is absolutely the toughest range to really land on somebody. I might be going I might go 2 in this range at least, maybe even 3. Obviously, you can build almost your entire lineup with that range. You got to go down a little bit because you only have 50,000 to work with. But I'd probably, if I had to put it in order of who I think is the best choices, I'd say Brendan Steele is probably my number 1 choice. Then I'd go Snedeker. I know a lot of people are on Casey. That's why I'm kind of like veering away from him because I think he's going to be really chalky. He might be the chalkiest player in the whole field. And that's why I kind of want to get away from him. Patrick Reed is going to be probably on the low end of ownership, which I think is a good play. He did pretty good at the Open, actually. And obviously Leishman. But I'm hoping that there's not too much ownership on Snedeker because there's still that talk about his struggles with this wrist problem and everything. But honestly, I don't see the struggle. I mean, I know he had a miscut and he had like a 43 or something somewhere, but outside of that, it's like all top 10s, a few top 5s. I mean, the guy is solid and he's a great putter. I mean, he's a little streaky, but I think on greens like this place is like perfect for him. Right. I really like him. I like him this week a lot.
Yeah, 2 things real quick. One about Snedeker. I have one thing about Reed and one about Snedeker. Snedeker, I think with the sharps, he's going to be chalk this week. I think the sharps. I heard a lot of chatter just with people I know Twitter and just reading different things that people just wanted to see Snedeker come around before taking him with that wrist injury because he was so poor right after that. Now that he's finishing like super strong, like these top 10s, 20s, in these strong fields as well. I think a lot of the sharper players are going to go to him. Some of the newer kids like coming out of the Open may not, because like he's still not well known to them, to the viewer's eye. But I think Snedeker is definitely worth a play. I haven't decided, since I'm only throwing single bullets, if I'm willing to throw him out there. But I will say this real quick about Patrick Reed as well. I'm looking at his track record here, not at the Travelers, just in this recent courses, and it looks like he has trouble with the par fours. Which, I mean, I don't play Patrick Reed personally. I've never played him. Just that's how I go. He looks like he smashes the par fives. He's finished, almost everyone does though, but he's finished well under par in the par fives every tournament. Under as well in the par threes, 2 out of his last 3, but he's finished over by a lot. In the U.S. Open also, I wanted to say this, that you are right, he did do well. He got 13th, but it was completely like up and down completely. He shot a 68, then followed by a 75, then a 65, and then a 74. So need a little bit more stability from him. It was kind of the same thing the tournament before the Memorial 2 weeks prior. He shot a 76 opening round, then a 71 to barely squeak by to make the cut, then shot a 75, and then another 71. So luckily, well, not luckily, I mean, I didn't play him, but the tournament before, if you played Patrick Reed, he got a 20th. He shot a 70, 69, 69, 68. So more consistency there, but I will not be playing him this week because it's just in a birdie fest. Patrick Reed, to me, I can't trust him. So real quick, my favorite plays there. I know I mentioned Paul Casey, so that's definitely it. I'm actually, other than Steele, I think the perfect pivot, and I don't want anyone to go off their place if they're really on Steele. Obviously, a lot of us are on Steele and Snedeker. I'm on Leishman as well. But my pivot is Daniel Berger. He won the St. Jude, obviously, not too long ago. Only has one event here, was here last year or 2015. Let me just double check. He got 5th place. It was last year. Very hot right now. He did miss the cut at the U.S. Open, but I'm not surprised by that. He's a very sporadic golfer. I think with how easy the course is, I think Daniel Berger could put up a number. So a low number, I mean. So other than him, as a pivot play, I mean, I obviously like the guys we've all mentioned: Snedeker, Leishman, Steele. Like, this value is golden. I think you can make a very, very valid point of fading the high price guys. And I haven't, like I mentioned earlier, I haven't done any actual lineup construction, so I don't know how comfortable it is to fit a 10K plus guy and a like mid 9K guy. So we're going just 2 upper 9Ks. So let's go into that next range and let's take this value.
Before we go there. None of these missed cuts scare you off of guys at the Open?
Not at this good of a golfer, not really. Not at this class. These guys, I mean, we're going to one of the easiest courses on tour, like the second easiest, I think it is, behind the John Deere in terms of birdies made. And I think that's why so many of these guys stayed. Like, it's almost like a confidence booster for these guys, I feel like. But what's your take, man? What do you think the opposite, I assume? You think you're a little worried about, like, who are you worried about? First of all, let's you got,
I don't know. I kind of like, I like to stay away from guys that are coming into an event where they just missed the cut. I mean, it's not a rule, obviously. There's been guys that have missed cuts and then come back and won. Or won, and then actually that was Daniel Berger. He won, and then he missed the cut at the Open. I know he's great. You know, I expected more from him at the Open. I didn't really look into, I've been trying to look into like some of the reasons for a lot of these guys getting cut. I know a lot of them were not hitting their drives where they needed to be, obviously, and that was like a killer. And then I guess a bunch of guys were having trouble on the greens. But, it was, if you look back at the key stats, I was looking at that earlier today. And, guys that you weren't really considering at all, like Xander and Molinax, and the guy who actually won the Millie Maker and had both of those like 75% exposure in max lineups, and everybody was like shaking their head like they didn't understand that play at all. And you know, at first glance, yeah, it looks ridiculous and it looks like almost like cheating. But if you take a look at the stats, those guys in that range were like the perfect play. Because I was what I did was I sorted by the bottom, you know, ascending from 6,000 and up or whatever the bottom was, and I was looking at like different key stats, and those two guys stood out more than anyone else anywhere within maybe $1,500 in salary. I mean, they were bombers. They didn't really have anything that was way out of the ordinary. You know, like they weren't overly weak in any category. They've been playing pretty good the past couple weeks. So, yeah, those were great punts. The guy he found those diamonds in the rough and he ran with it and it worked. And that's sometimes what you got to do. You know, and like, let's read some of the comments here. And Joe mentioned something about having one chalky guy who finishes first and a low-end other guy works. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can mix your lineup like that. You can definitely have a chalky guy or two and then differentiate yourself by having some lower owned plays. But the thing that I'm noticing, and I pointed this out before, and you know, I could bring that spreadsheet up to point it out even more. The last the chalkiest player in the field, the last time that player won an event, I think it was 17 weeks ago. We have not had the top price player win an event in like 17 weeks. It was DJ at the Genesis. He went off as the highest priced player, the highest owned player, I believe, highest odds, like the trifecta. You know, I mean, he had all three going, and it, you know, that sounds like the perfect fade, but it happens once in a while. You're going to get that obvious, you know, overly priced favorite that's going to actually win an event, but it's so rare that I'd rather say, you know, if that guy wins, so be it. I'm probably not going to be on him because I like to fade
Patrick Reed.
What's that?
That's how I am with Patrick Reed.
Well, Patrick Reed though, he's not really going to be that chalky though. You think he is?
No. I just mean, sorry, not in terms of chalk, but I just meant, sorry, in that last sentence you said that like if he beats me, he beats me type thing. Where you mean like,
oh, I see. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
correlate. Yeah, you know,
the thing. My bad there.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. There's guys like Keegan Bradley, nobody wants to touch. You know, Bubba Watson, but sometimes you just got to throw away your bias feelings towards these guys and.
Because you mentioned Bubba Watson, let's get into that next range so we can, because we got a couple complaints about not covering as many golfers last time.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to point out why ownership matters.
No, that's very valid. We can go dead making that emphasis, and some people still, I don't know. It's very valid point though, man, for sure. And let's just take this entire range right here, just from 9K under to 8. We got about 10 names. It looks like. Seth, how about you start this time? You started this time.
All right, in this category, let's see. Obviously, I mentioned Bubba. You know, he's a horse for the course, big time. His current
but since you mentioned this real quick, I don't want to interrupt you as soon as you start, but you mentioned the chalkiness, like how if like usually the chalkiest guy doesn't win. I know you mentioned that it's the most expensive as well, but Bubba Watson is I think he's going to be very chalky, and with his game, are you not a little like? It's almost like a lot of negative stack up.
I don't know if I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just pointing out that he's the horse for the court. I mean, over and above probably anybody in the event. I would think that he's got 2 wins. He's got top 5s. I mean, he just tears his course up. But is he going to do that this year? I don't know. His form hasn't been all that great. He did make the cut at the Open, which you can't say for a lot of top guys in the world. So, I mean, that's doing something, you know, but it was just the most bizarre situation last week, and I'm not going to harp on it, but when you got Jim Furyk and Ernie Els who never make cuts, making it in there, and you don't have DJ or Rahm or Jason Day and all these other guys making it to the weekend, something's really odd about that. But anyway, yeah, I mean, Bubba, he might be chalky. I don't really know. I think there's going to be like a 50-50 split on this based on his current form not being so great, but improving a little bit, you know, kind of getting to the point where people might say, oh, you know, he did make the cut at the Open, and he does destroy this course. So it's hard to gauge him. I think it all depends on roster construction and how that works out, because if you're going to be taking – a lot of people are always taking two guys from the top. I mean, not a huge majority of the field, but, you know, there's those people that want to grab like Rory and Justin Thomas, you know, and put them in the lineup, and then you're down 6,000s. So you're not going to be able to play Bubba. How many people are going to do that? I don't know. But in a field like this, it seems like those guys on paper are head and shoulders above the rest. So maybe for that reason, people might go that route, and they won't be able to fit any guys in that range in their lineup. And if they are, I wouldn't think that they're going to jump to Bubba as the first choice. If that's the only option they have in that range, I would think they're probably going to go more for Kyle Stanley or let's see, Brian Harmon, obviously. I mean, he was right there at the end of the Open.
Real quick, Stanley and Bubba Watson are like completely opposite in terms of and how they're playing right now. Bubba Watson's got the complete course history. Kyle Stanley's the exact opposite. His course history is absolute shit. Well, not absolute shit. He has like 3 top 20s, but he has like 4 missed cuts or something like that. While Bubba's got the 2 wins, obviously, as you mentioned. So they're like Stanley's got amazing recent form, while Bubba's is not so good. So completely different plays. And I agree with you. I mean, it is almost going to be one or the other, I feel like, in this range. But go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Finau is also enticing, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to mention him, actually. He definitely is. I don't know his history here. Let me take a quick look.
It's pretty good. It was an 80.
Yeah,
rating.
He's got 2 25s, actually. It's not great. I mean, he's definitely he's become a better golfer since last year.
It's definitely not great at his price currently. If he was cheaper last year, maybe it was good for his price, but at 25th, at what is he, 8.9 or is it 8.7 or something like that? Then I like a top 20 to really invest in. I like to really know I'm going to be doing well in a tournament.
Yeah, let me. I want to take a quick look at something. He was. It doesn't have the pricing on here for last year. All right. So anyway, yeah, he has 2 25s in a row. He is kind of pricey. He's another streaky player. He's been playing more consistent, but still, I don't know if he's a bomber, and he can make birdies and on a par 70. I like him on a par 72 better. You know, I like him with 4 par 5s. I think I'd probably fade him. Kyle Stanley, like you said, his history is not great, but his current form is really good. It has been. So in this range, I'd have to go. How far down are we going? 8,000 all the way to 8,900?
Yeah, in the whole AK range.
Yeah, the whole AK.
All right. So then in that case, I'm going Kevin Tway because I haven't heard anyone talking about him.
I feel you. Plus, I don't think he has any course history here, does he? I don't. He does. Check. He had a 26 in 2014 and a missed cut in 2011, it says. And his game's been on the up. He only has that one poor performance where he miscut at the Memorial. Other than that, they've all been top 50s. The only reason I don't think he's been getting touted is because his price is getting up there. He was 7,400 last week or the week before. I do not recall. His price is his first time above 8K, I believe, and he hasn't gotten that win yet or really contended yet. So I think a lot of guys are. I've even seen Zach Johnson talked up more than Kevin Tway. Zach Johnson's
Yeah, I thought about him too, but
meathead. Like I mean, he obviously he's still, I guess, a world class golfer. Like he's still got a game. I mean, he's a good golfer, but he's that's the definition of a tournament play. Like he's one of the most volatile guys on tour. But I agree with you. Kevin Tway is a great pivot.
Yeah,
It allows you to take almost whoever you want, because I think lineup construction wise, Kevin Tway isn't going to be like if I don't see many people taking chalk and then Kevin Tway. Like
right.
I think if you're taking Kevin Tway, it's going to be a guy that either doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, or a guy that goes like uber contrarian. Like they don't really just like try to take that one off. Like I don't think Kevin Tway is the one off. I think a one off might be a guy like Finau, or guys like that are moderately going to be owned, but they're not going to be in ownership levels like 2-3% like Tway might be. But anyway, let's just send it to ACP real quick. He hasn't talked there in a good minute. So what do you think about, man? Think about it, man. 8 to 9K there.
Yeah, 8 to 9K. My personal favorite, I mean, no surprise, Kyle Stanley. I've been on this guy forever. His stats are great. I know his course history is, decent. It's not too good, but I think he's been playing his best golf this year, and I'm staying on him this week at 8-6. I wouldn't be surprised if he's up there in ownership, but I'm still on him. Bubba Watson and Jim Furyk are interesting to me from a course history standpoint. My single bullet, I think I'm going to fade both of them, but most entry, I definitely would have some pieces of them. And then Finau, I don't really like Finau too much this week. I do like Finau as a golfer, but this week I'm off of him. Kevin Tway is interesting to me. He reminds me of kind of like Finau in a way, because they're kind of bombers. So it's interesting. But I think from this range, I'm going to be sticking with Kyle Stanley and just calling it a day.
Right. And according to Fanshare Sports, there's they I don't know if you guys have ever used them, but they kind of predict, not really predicting ownership, but it's a bunch of touts that either start or sit, and you kind of get an idea of where the major touts are to kind of get an idea where the general public might go. And guys, we'll take it down to where we are. We're talking about Bubba Watson. We talked about him. He's at a start 84%, at sit 16%. So that's kind of the people, obviously the arguments we've been making. So we're not very far off on what we're saying there. So the people that are saying sit him, or people saying, like Bubba Watson's form isn't good, even though he's winning, and that's where the 84% come in. Because Bubba Watson, if it was based off recent form, no one would play him. But nothing is based off recent form. So, and Brendan Steele, 97 start percentage. So I think Brendan Steele is going to be the uber chalk this week. I don't like to base it just off these numbers, but no one's above 90 or no one's above 91. Stanley's over at 85. We got Finau actually at 92. That's interesting. Webb Simpson at 97%. I actually really like Webb Simpson. So let me get into sorry, I lost Fantasy Labs here on my page brought up with the prices, because I'll just go to, oh, there we go. All right.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm back there. So my favorite right quick in that range, as Seth mentioned, I do like Kevin Tway, not my favorite. So I'm going to say he's my honorable mention. He'll be my fourth. I do like 3 guys in this range, in no order right now, because I have to kind of garner ownership, and the more information I go through, it's pretty much the 3 that we've all talked about. It's just Stanley, Finau, and a little, I'm gonna say Bubba Watson, man, and I'm kind of smirking saying that, because it's gonna take me a lot to pull the trigger. But if I see money go on Bubba, if I see his odds move up like towards the start of the tournament, then I know it's no joke. And I need to try to find some word about his range, what he's been doing on the range. Does he look good and stuff like that? Because it looks like he's lost like 60 pounds. But anyway, I will say this one dart I'd be willing to throw. He won't contend, I do not believe, but Chad Campbell right there, flat 8K.
Yeah, I was just looking at him, I swear.
Yeah, man, he's just rarely blows up, hangs in, doesn't really. He'll never really do worse than like a +3, but he'll never really do better than like a 6 under. I mean, it's all relative to the course, so that's a terrible reference, but he's usually in in range to make cuts at all times, essentially. Which, yeah.
What do you guys think of I kind of got this feeling like last week, remember how I said people are gonna sleep on Brooks at that price? What do you guys think about Brian Harmon, man? Coming off a T2 at the US
Yeah.
Open, he won the Wells Fargo not too long ago. He's been playing really good.
No,
yeah, what
I'm
do you guys
gonna
think
fade
about
him personally. I just think his ownership's
it?
gonna be like I don't know, man. It's not gonna be super high because all the plays around him. But me personally, no Harmon for me. I mean, it's same reason for JT. I probably won't be playing JT. I'm gonna be going Spieth, just because I'm doing single bullets. But I will say, if I was doing some fucking game theory, narrative stuff, I would have JT and Harmon in the same lineup in like a mass multi-entry, like 20-entry max birdie or whatever it's called, the 4 this week. I would definitely make a line with them to start for sure. But no single entry bullet for me. No Brian Harmon. What about you, Seth?
Yeah, I mean, I was saying before that out of that whole group right there, Harmon obviously had the most exposure. I mean, I don't mean ownership exposure. I mean television exposure because of where he was at. So, a lot of people are going to see his name and say, "Wait, this guy was really playing well at the Open," and that could actually make him really chalky because we don't have a whole lot of U.S. Open guys in this tournament. I think the ones that finished pretty high, especially JT and Brian Harmon, people are going to grab those guys. It's like natural instinct. It was a major last week. The best players in the world were all playing together on this really impossible course that 7 of the top 10 or whatever crazy stat it was missed the cut. And if this guy made it through and almost won, then I better have him in my lineup. So you got to consider that's going to be the mentality of a lot of people. I don't think I want to be on that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Right. All right. So let's just drop it down an X range there. 7,900. David Lingmerth there, all the way down to let's cut it off. Actually, let's go 7,500. Let's cut it off there and separate it into 2 right here. If you don't like anyone there, just let it be known. I actually like 2 guys in this range. And actually, real quick, let's see if you guys can guess one of them. I'm pretty sure you both will guess my first. It's not. Well, let's see. Take a guess here.
Wait, where are you at? 7,500.
79 to 75. Who do you guys think my favorite play in that range?
I like love Mark.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and that's what
I
I'm
was
worried
about. Lingmerth.
I know Lingmerth. My second guy was actually Hudson Swafford by chance, actually.
Huh.
Man. He actually is in my model a little bit, not very high rated, 92. I mean, not a 92, 62%. 38th last year, miscut in the 24th. Has not been golfing well whatsoever his last events, but 4 miscuts in a row. I don't know, man. It's definitely a nuts throw, but it's literally one of the easiest courses on tour. I'm gonna throw one out there. I'm just being honest. Even in a single entry, I'm gonna do it.
I actually kind of do like to play. Definitely will be low owned, especially coming off 4 cuts. But he's one of those guys like we see, he can disappear out of nowhere and get a top 6 Shell Hope Houston Open T10 at Honor Palmer. So especially on an easier course, I could see playing Swafford. I won't be doing it in my single bullet, but I see the merit behind the play there.
Well, I should be more frank. So I'm doing like 3 or 4 single bullets. Like what I've decided to do from like reading the book I've been reading about baseball, it's like instead of doing 3 entry maxes, just kind of put 3 different lineups in 3 different tournaments of the same value, so you can max out first place. Just like because you never know. It's possible to get first place with 3 different lineups. It's all like it's what I mean. It's not predetermined, so like you never know what can happen. Especially if you use the same corp. It's just like that in golf. So like that's what I've decided to do. So I'm gonna enter like the caddy for $5 and then put that same lineup in another single entry for like another $3 or something. Kind of try to add them up to like the $12 with a different lineup and just I don't know, try to maximize value that way. And anyway, Yeah, Hudson Swafford would definitely not be my main lineup. I would have to be that guy that won the $1 million to try something like that, I think. So anyway, other than that, I did have a little bit of love for Lahiri. Is the only thing is his price is way too high, and if his ownership is going to be anything above 5%, I'm going to fade him. The only problem is since this is such a birdie course, Bond Lahiri has been one of the top birdie makers for like the last 3 years. So take that how you want. Go ahead, Seth. Your plays and your take.
I was just looking at him actually right when you were starting to talk about him. I had been looking at him while you guys were talking, and I know he's known to be a really bad putter, which could be a huge benefit here. Obviously, this is going to level some bad putters out because the greens are so slow. I'm not sure how he's a bad putter and he's 9th in birdie or better percentage, but somehow he is. He had a second place at the Memorial. He missed 3 straight cuts prior to that. So, he's very streaky, but I think he might be in play here, actually. I might have some exposure to him.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to be.
I kind of
like. He's not going to be that chucky.
But he's 166 in strokes gained putting. Just to put that out there, so you're right. He is.
Yeah, I know. I looked at that, and like I'm saying, if it's a 10 on the stimp meter, I don't think you got to be that great of a putter.
Right, go ahead, ACP. My bad there.
If he's only 9th in birdie or better.
Yeah, no, I just think I like Lahiri, especially on a course where your putter's not as important. Yeah, I definitely like him. I'll coming off a T2 as well. I think he'll be feeling good. He's in good form coming off that T2. I could definitely see playing him. I might have to actually put him on my single bullet.
You can look at it 2 ways real quick. I think some people are gonna fade him because kind of like what I initially thought was, man, this price, we're so used to having him at 6,400. Like he's burned me more at 6,400 than he hasn't burned me. So I'm like sitting there. Now you raise him 1,000, and I'm supposed to play him. So
that's what's going to make him low owned.
Right, and exactly. And I feel like ACP said this perfectly earlier that like DK, don't be afraid of like prices being raised or lowered to tempt you or to veer you away because they might know something. Or, like often algorithms kind of can predict things. It's obviously not right all the time, but it's definitely some weird shit. Like shit can happen.
If you see a guy out of range, then it kind of seems like something's up.
You'll see guys in MLB that haven't played yet at like 4K that like occasionally you don't even know their name. It's like maybe they're the next Cody Bellinger. Like 3 weeks they're come out and hit 3 dingers in 2 games, and on DK you're not even gonna know because they're like 4K and no one's gonna play them. They're not like 2,200 like on FanDuel or whatever. But anyway, we're talking about baseball, so let's get back into.
Well, Jordan made a good point. His approach game and tee to green isn't that great. I mean, it's right here. Obviously, he's strokes gained approach 106, tee to green 96. But is that? I don't know. I mean, how? Like I said, how's he getting a second place at the Memorial and 9th in birdie or better? He's doing something right. I mean, he's streaky, obviously. Maybe this is one of those times of the year to grab him when everybody else is off.
Weird, man. Because at the Memorial, he shot 8 under on the par 4s, which is killer. And at the Texas Open, he finished 72nd on. This was on April 23rd. He shot 12 over on the par 4s. Like, that is nuts. And in the 2 events before, the Dylan DeLuca and the Byron Nelson, he shot 9 over on par 4s. So definitely very volatile.
He's GPP all the way.
Oh, yeah. No way you play him in cash. Especially with the 1K price up. Like, you're literally playing with fire there. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, I would not have much exposure to him, but I think I might have him in a lineup just to have a little exposure. Because he is one of these guys. I mean, if he's going to put up a second place again, I'd like to be on him.
His grading regulations and his driving accuracy are piss. So that's what it was. That's why he's not really
right.
Yeah,
but and how do you get to 9 in birdie or better?
Right, it's got to be the fields being in Euro. Because he's not really on the I don't know. It's probably limited events. I really don't know. It's got to be limited events because they don't track the Euro events. But anyway, so let's get into that next range since we did cut up 8 and 7K. So right below Lahiri, we have the 7,400 range. We got quite a few more names. So obviously, so we might be able to cut it up again. I do want to make one point before we get into any names. JJ Henry is a local of this area. I'm not sure exactly how close. I just heard it on Sirius XM or something like that on the, or it might have been actually the Roto Grinders Golf Show, as well as Keegan Bradley. Keegan Bradley lives about, or it's like 15, 20 minutes out.
Yeah.
And then we have the narrative with Charlie Hoffman with the sickness. So this whole range, it's a lot of guys, but yeah. Let's start with ACP here. You guys take as much time as you want. Cover whatever. I mean, obviously we can't cover everyone, but
yeah,
let's try to limit to like 5 guys, I guess, that to cover. Good or bad, doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's a lot of valid plays in this range. I was originally on Charlie Hoffman like everybody else, but with this whole sickness and not knowing if he's going to withdraw or not, I'm off him. If you want to play him, it's worth a shot, especially in the field. I don't see Charlie Hoffman winning. You know, he's one of those guys. First 2 days he'll come out and be hot, and then gradually fall off. So I could see him, top 10, but with the sickness and all that, I'm off of him now. But he was originally in my field. Su Kang, Bud Colley, these are guys. Like if I was doing multi entries, I would definitely be looking at these guys. So if you're interested in them, look at them. Let's see here, Martin. Like if a lot of these guys, if I was doing multi entries, I would be on him. So I would just list them off. If I was doing multi entry, so Martin I'd be on. Randolph is interesting to me. I hate Keegan Bradley with a passion. I can't play him, but I could see the merit in he's a loco, and those few times when he's on, he's on. But he's for my single ability, he's not worth a shot for me. But Keegan Bradley, it's interesting. Watney's interesting. John Hugh, he's interesting. Like these are all guys multi entries you should be looking at. Luke Donald, this guy, man. Yeah, Luke Donald, if he's on, man, he can be one of those nice GPP plays. You look at some of his history, man. He's the type of guy to get cut or placed at top 2, or in the RBC Heritage. So that's interesting play at 7-2. I think this week I will be going back to on. I'm hoping that cut kind of takes a few people off of him from last week. He's still a great golfer. I'm just gonna chalk it up as the U.S. Open. Round 2, he got nerves or anything. So I'm back on this week. I will be playing him. Graham DeLatte is interesting to me. Beginning of the year, I was all over this guy. T10 actually, T57, 2 cuts prior to that. So he's somebody, his stats line up on this course too. He's definitely worth a hard look. If I was doing most entries, I would definitely play Graham here. Not for my single bullet though. JT Poston's another one. I could see a lot of merit in playing him. McGirt's always in play for me. But he's one of those Charlie Hoffman types where he'll come out hot and then gradually fade off. So I would not be playing him in my single bullet, but I could see the merit behind playing him. Who else do we have? A lot of people here, man. Jonas Blix is interesting to me. JJ Henry, local guy like you were talking about. I won't be playing him, but some merit in local narratives, and there is a lot of merit in course history because we always see guys like Lingmerth at that one course where he just went off because of his course history there. Zach Blair, another guy interesting to me. There's a lot of guys, man. Ryan Palmer, Webb. Oh, that's 6'9". So yeah, those are all guys. If I was doing multi entries, I would look at. But I think the one guy I will be sticking with this round is on. And yeah, I'll be giving Donald a look too.
Right.
And Charlie Hoffman, if he's going to play, then he's obviously worth a look.
It's going to be what time? Let me check real quick. I'm going to check Hoffman's tee time. It's right here, 7:50. So we'll know very early if he's going to go. Fuck, man, I'm not going to be up that early. I'm probably, honestly, since I'm only running like 2 lineups probably in a couple different spots, I might throw him in the dog leg that opens up, like, or maybe the one right now, I guess, the small one. I'm not going to play any Hoffman. I wasn't on him originally. I am worried, though, that if his ownership does get low enough and he does play, that I should play him because he's obviously way underpriced. But anyway, we do. I don't want to go too long. We have been going for a few hours, and I feel like for the viewers, it's hard for them to watch like a 3.5-hour show and still do shit during the day, So I do want to try to speed. I know we have so many names, but
yeah, 156 guys. It's tough. I mean, people want us to go over stats on everybody. We got to skip over a few.
Honestly, obviously. Yeah, you guys. I know a lot of people are doing stuff on their own, but it's not like we're just doing the show and then like making a roster and then leaving. Like we're fucking going at it right after we're done. We're going back into stats and doing like. I usually don't have my lineups in until like 3 a.m. when my eyes are half shut and I like I pour water on myself to like wake myself up. But real quick, I only have a few plays in the 7K range that I have in my pool, and this is literally who I am playing. Like there's no one else really. I don't see the only one exception if I was playing a tournament, which I am thinking about making one tournament lineup. I hate to say it, is just because I kind of want to play Grayson Murray. I don't really have much respect for him, but he's kind of shut up a lot recently and started playing golf, and I got to respect him at least for that. But anyway, my 2 guys that I really like right there were Bud Cauley and Grillo, Emiliano Grillo. Nothing really sticks out with their games. Both, I think, are a little bit underpriced. I do think they'll garner some ownership just because of that, which is a little shaky in my book. But in a single entry, I don't think they're going to be very common pairs with guys like Spieth or Casey. I think you're going to see guys go with Hoffman or even Keegan Bradley. I also am going to put Lahiri in my player pool. In a single entry tournament, I'm willing to throw that dart since you still have to get 20 to 25%. Better than the field, sometimes 15%. So definitely still a GPP, even though it's single entry. And that's about it for me in the 7K range. Honestly, I'm not playing anyone else there. I mean, Byung-Hun An, I get it. I mean, the guy's still a great golfer. Odds at 50 to 1 at 7,100. I mean, it's just for me. I mean, the single. I do like. Oh well, he's actually below 7K, so we'll get into him. And for me, I only plan to play 3 guys below 7K in single entries. If I was playing tournaments, I'll tell you what, I'd be all in the upper 6K range. But I'll just start it off, throw my 3 guys out there, and then let you guys take it from there. Main 3 guys are just Harris English, Ches Reavie, and Webb Simpson for me. Self-explanatory, really. Webb Simpson, good birdie maker, good scrambler, amazing field percentage, which on Fantasy Labs, I know both of you guys use Fantasy Labs, is just a statistic, that kind of correlates how they do in fields and relative to the field that this current event is. So in terms of how the quality of golfers. And as this is an intermediate, moderate field, I mean, we've got a few studs up top, but then some fairly weak guys when you get down to the bottom. I think guys like Harris English and Webb Simpson both will be able to do very well. And then Ches Reavie, who's probably going to be the most popular out of them 3 just because of his recent time, like his recent golfing. He's been doing very well. He's been hot. He's been killing it with driving accuracy, which I am on. He's 68.9%. He's even better at scrambling at 60.1. In retrospect to Webb Simpson, not than his driving accuracy stat, of course. And that's what I have. Those are my 3 guys right there. I'm sorry I don't have a bigger player pool for guys that are trying to throw tournaments out there, but these are the safest plays in my book right right at that range. I know Byung-Hun An is the definition of safe play at 7,100, but I couldn't play him in terms of game, like just ownership, especially in the $12 single entry. Anything lower than 27, you're looking at like pretty chalky guys. So, and then you guys take it. Let's go with Seth this time to start off here.
In that range, I'm not really liking too much at all. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to fade anyone that's below somewhere, I think it's 7,200, who made the cut at the Open. It just seems like they're going to be way over-owned because people are going to go down there for their punts, and they're just going to be picking from that litter. They're going to be seeing that. I mean, Ches Reavie is a great play. I'm not going to deny it. I mean, he's way underpriced, I think.
Right.
But for that reason, I mean, people are going to see the guy just had a 16th at the U.S. Open, a 4th the week before. He's 6,900. I mean, he's going to be very chalky for a $6,900 play. So I'm not going to be on him. I can't go there.
You think he'll be chalkier than Byung-Hun An at 71, though?
I think they'll be somewhere around equal. Even though An missed, he still has a great season going, and people know his consistency. I mean, that was his first missed cut all year, right? And let's see who else. Danny Lee is actually a good play down at the bottom, 6,800. In my opinion, I like him.
He did burn some people a couple weeks ago. He was touted very highly. I mean, he didn't really burn any. It wasn't like a super bad burn, but
that was at the Players, right?
Never got out of. I might have been.
Well, I mean, he had a missed cut at the Players, and then he
just never got out of first gear. It was, I think it was either this. I think it was the St. Jude. Like he was
47th.
Yeah, at 7,200. He never just really got out of first gear, and like a lot of people had him to win. I had a bet on him to win actually.
Yeah, that's such a weak field. I mean, he should have done better, which is good for this tournament. I think this is where you grab him.
I don't know. His price went down again, though. Like it's not like his price went up, though. You know what I mean? I mean, I feel you though, because there are a lot of average players that just watch the game log like, oh no, this guy's not doing good. But like you guys said, golf is so volatile that literally a guy can go miscut, 3, miscut, like win, miscut. Like that shit happens. It's golf. So Danny Lee is a world-class golfer.
Billy Horschel is the ultimate guy for that.
Right.
I mean, this guy will miss 8 cuts in a row and then he'll win. And then he'll win or top 5 the next 2 weeks, and you won't hear from him again for a year or two.
And that's all you got. We can send an ACP. I did have one final question for everyone. That was just going to be an ACP can answer it while he shares his plays. That was the absolute cheapest guy you would have any exposure to. And I was just curious who you guys would like go dumpster diving for, just a little bit. Obviously, for everyone watching, this would be literally like a 2% exposure, like one lineup out of 150, maybe 2, just because having it a 1 is kind of pointless. Like, what's the chance that if that guy hits, that the rest of that lineup's fire? So probably 2 out of 150 lines. So some crazy shit. I was just curious who you guys thought maybe had a chance at literally 6,400 or 65, whatever they have the cheapest price at this week.
Well, but, Lucas Glover down there, I mean, he might be really – he could be 10% at 6,600.
Is that min price, though?
No, you're talking min price?
Like the absolute cheap – well, is that the absolute cheapest you go is Lucas Glover?
No, 6,300. But I don't know if I'd be grabbing anyone down there. I mean, if I had to, had no choice. I haven't even looked down there. Let me see. I guess Ryan Blom is a consideration because he has a top 25 this year at the Dean and DeLuca. And he's actually well, Jonathan Vegas is 6,400. He is a possibility.
Vegas. He was the man. He used to cash me out. But then a couple weeks ago when I took him to the Houston Open, he like didn't do well. Then I took him in the tournament again in Texas the week after and shit the bed. Then like didn't even make the cut and I didn't do well.
No, I'd be very hard pressed to take any of these guys. Kelly Craft is maybe a possibility because that guy can play like every 3 months. He might have a good round. Cody Gribble, you hear his name every once in a while.
That's true. But yeah, ACP, let's shoot it in real quick. What are your favorite plays in that 6,800, maybe 7, anywhere in that range, I guess? Not too many though, obviously. Cause
trying to wrap it up. To answer your question first, besides Vegas at 64, another guy at 64 that was actually brought up to me by David in the group. This guy named, I don't know if you guys have heard of him, Wyndham Clark. He I guess he was a college kid for Oregon. He made 11 out of 13 top 10 finishes in his college career. And a lot of people are comparing him to Rahm as an amateur. So that could be somebody that could be on the lookout for, is that guy Wyndham Clark. That's Wyndham.
Yeah, looking at him actually.
So that guy, he's obviously a flyer. And then Vegas at that 6,400 is, if he can show up any moment. But at this low range, I don't think I'll be having too many plays from here. I like Ches. Ches is probably going to be my favorite play at this low range. His stats line up at this for this course, and he's been in great form. Kevin Na is worth a look, obviously, and then Webb Simpson is always worth a look. And then a guy I'm curious about, like I asked about last week, is Adam Hadwin. He came out that first round of the Open looking pretty good, started 68, and then just fell downhill from there. So I'm curious to hear what your guys' takes are on Hadwin this week.
I usually don't like him at all. I mean, he hasn't done much at all. He had one win, and then the rest of the season has been just making the cut, kind of. But in this event, I was actually considering him for the first time in weeks, just because I think this course fits him better than a lot of the courses he's been playing on.
Right, and also real quick, I think there's so much value along with Hadwin, obviously, around him that you're going to see his ownership diluted a little bit because of guys just so cheap this week as well. So I don't hate the play. I used to play Hadwin. I kind of was on the train before everyone else hopped on a little bit, but now that Hadwin I missed it the very beginning of it, but I just don't. Guys at 6,800, I know he's not volatile because it's Adam Hadwin. That's why everyone's talking about him. But other guys in that range are often so volatile that it's hard to go for me to play them at high ownerships like Hadwin will be. And that's why I'm going to be fading Byung Han on, and Hadwin. Nonetheless, I'm probably gonna fade him as well. It's just I'm probably gonna be playing chalkier guys up top. Like I really like Casey. JT a little bit, I think, maybe for narrative's sake. Definitely like Spieth. Obviously, won't be able to fit all three in the same lineups, but yeah. Anyway, that I'm gonna have to check this Clark guy though, real quick. I mean, not now. Obviously, when we get off stream. But
what do you guys think about Trey Mullinax?
Oh, I'm real quick. Yeah, the dude's local. I think in my area from North Carolina. I believe maybe from Georgia or something like that. But anyway, yeah, as you mentioned, man, since we're both doing kind of single entry formats, like different, I'm doing different tournaments, but only one entry. So no Molnax for me. He's just not, just doesn't, if there wasn't as much value as there is, I would be more inclined to take that dart. But since there's so much, I'll let it bite me if he gets another top 10, honestly. Like then I'll hop on the wave next week and then I'll lose all my money when I decide to take him. So, but yeah, what's your take, man, or whoever?
Well, I wanted to point out somebody we missed, Vaughn Taylor. He's not a bad punt down there either.
I mean, yeah, recently he hasn't been. He hasn't been doing that well recently, right? I mean, I remember he was always He was like contending in a few weeks in a row early.
Well, his course history, he's never apparently.
Oh, he's actually been doing all right. He got an 18th and Dean DeLuca and a 12th at the Wells Fargo. The miscut in between of the players.
Yeah, he's only missed 2 cuts here in 9 years. Yeah, 9 years he's missed twice. His best finish was a 9th in 2010. But let me see his recent form. He had an 18th, a 12th at the Wells Fargo, 23rd, 2 weeks in a row, Arnold Palmer and Shell Houston. The guy he can go low. I mean, he'd be a sneaky play. He can miss the cut, obviously, but, if you're looking for GPP plays at the bottom, then that might be the way to go. This is going to be a very weird ownership week. That's why I'm going later than usual, because I can't get any kind of feel for who people are going to be on, because there's so much parity in this field, aside from the top 4 to 8 guys. I mean, top 4, first of all, is totally head and shoulders above everybody else. But then as you go a little further down, it's like it's anybody's tournament.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, HP, go ahead, man.
No, I was just agreeing that it's hard to get a read on ownership this week.
I don't want to veer way off here, off of plays, but I'm scrolling through the official PGA Tour website, and we haven't talked about this at all, and it does have to do with the weather, actually. So there's a rumor supposedly of, obviously we can't really control Saturday or Sunday's tee times, because hopefully our guys are teeing off as late as possible, because that means they're doing well. So we're looking at Friday. It says there's a slight chance of thunderstorms, only 30%. And I will tell you guys this: I have gotten a lot of notifications about home runs and stolen bases, so scrolling up might take a while. But DK sent out a notification, sent a push notification about golf, saying that the Friday PM wave might be an advantage. I haven't had the time to look it up, and I'm not going to listen to what they have to say, because that's bullshit. But I am actually interested. What can you guys tell me real quick? I don't have the Facebook page brought up. I was just curious what the city was. Is this like Crumfield, Connecticut? Was it?
Cromwell. It's right outside of Hartford.
Cromwell. All right, good call. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
And actually, Cromwell, the next thing that pops up is Cromwell, Connecticut, and then like right under it is Cromwell, Connecticut Walmart.
One thing I did hear on one of the podcasts, I think it was actually the Phenom guys. They said that I don't know if it was last year or a collection of years, but the early tee times here have like 60% of the time the winners or top. I don't remember exactly what they said, but it was a distinct difference between most other events on tour, where the early tee times actually do make a difference regardless of weather.
Right.
I don't know why that is, but that's what I heard. But then again, you can't really base anything on. I mean, you could obviously base some things because it's the same course and layout and everything. But for those that may not know, last year this tournament was in right after the PGA. They had to move it around for the Olympics, and that's another major, and they put it in after that one, so it was a little different. And they still have, they always have the weak fields, and I'm not sure exactly why they have such a stronger field going this year. Maybe, like you said, it's got something to do with the charity, but typically you don't get too many top 10 world golf ranked guys in this tournament. Right. Bubba's always played it, but typically, if you look at the course history for a lot of the guys that are the highest priced guys, they don't have much because they're not usually there.
Right. And I'm taking just a brief glance at the weather. It's not looking mainly the wind. It's not looking too bad. I mean, the worst it's going to get Thursday or Friday is afternoon of Friday. It's looking to get about 12, 13 miles per hour, which isn't too bad. These guys are pretty good golfers. 12, 13 shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah.
So no tee time advantage really to me. The weather, Apple Weather says that the rain prediction is only 24%. So it looks like it's decreasing as time goes on. So I'm not gonna lie, I do have a little history of not really targeting the early tee times, but I'll just like early tee times have also done me well, I guess. Like when Charlie Hoffman came out in the Masters, zoom in early, like no one really caught up to him, and I was winning big buckaroos until he just started choking late, like he did last week. So anyway, when it comes to the weather, no specific tee times. I haven't actually looked at anyone's tee time yet. I don't really this week. I won't be doing any game theory depending on like pairings or anything like that. Like I'm not really going in depth with any research about like if people do well with studs in their pairing or don't do well if they have like guys who are going to be like 7 shots back or I don't know. I'm not really that invested in it this week. Maybe for the Masters or like a major like the U.S. Open, the players. I'm not the players, the PGA Championship coming up. But anyway, guys, I don't really have much else. I'm ready to set some lineups and probably go to sleep here because I got to be up early tomorrow. But if you guys have anything else you want to say or anything you've been holding back, let it fly now if you want.
Who do you like for first round leader?
Ooh, yeah, I haven't really been looking, but if I had to have my guess, I'd.
I noticed that in most events, first round leader comes out of the early groups.
Right.
Have you noticed that? The guy puts up a number and everybody seems to be pressing to chase it, and they just don't hit it.
I'd probably say Kevin Streelman, or maybe like these are straight dart throws because that's all you really want to do with first round leaders, or maybe Harris English, even Ches Reavie. Personally, I think no. Okay, pure dart throw Webb Simpson. I think Webb Simpson, the dude just birdie streaks, man. I mean, it's always when I'm not playing him though, so we'll see. He'll miss cut when I play him. I played him. I can't remember what event it was. I think it was like the RBC Heritage. I played him at 9,200 and he like missed cuts on me. And then like 2 weeks ago, he like birdied 5 out of 6 holes in a row and it was like 6,900. And I'm like, okay, boy, I have no exposure here. That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like Webb Simpson this week, and I think he can first round lead. Whoever is just high birdie makers, I would just take. I would look at the. Yeah, I mean, obviously you know what to do, but those would be one of my 3. I know that's kind of copping out by giving you 3 guys, but what about you, man?
I'm looking at the odds, and it's hard to get away from Justin Thomas, obviously, but he's not only. I mean, 22-1 is kind of fair, but it's not fair enough.
I highly doubt one of these guys leads from like first to through. Like,
no, I don't think anybody's going wire to wire, but a guy like that can definitely really put a low number up. But then again, he had a third here last year, didn't he?
I'm honestly, I'm not too sure
I think
about his course history here with JT. I know this is Spieth's first year, but JT, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I think he had a third here last year.
Yeah, ACP, real quick. What are your thoughts, man? What do you think?
First round leader?
Yeah. Who do you think?
First round leader, man. I gotta go with either Hoffman or Dirk McGirt. Those are my guys for first round all the time.
Hey, man, if he can eagle those par 5s, man, there's only a couple of them, but that could be big scoring.
I was actually looking at these questions while you guys were talking. Somebody kept asking us about Julian Etelaner. I haven't even heard of him.
Etulain.
Yeah.
What do you guys know anything about this guy, really?
I've heard of him. I haven't really followed him much, but
he's not good.
He's 7,000, so they don't have him at the bottom. He did have a 24th at the FedEx and a 36th at the Wells Fargo. So, I definitely hear his name popping up here and there, so it's not like he's terrible.
Yeah, I don't know much about him, guys, so I can't give too much input.
Has he played here before? Let me see.
No.
No, he's never played here. His recent form, actually,
His Monty Grandal just hit another dinger, boys.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'll min cash.
All right.
Them Dodgers.
What's the score in that game?
Oh, nope. I just lost all my money, boys. I was winning like, oh, boys. Maybe I faded Grandal. That's not good.
You faded Grandal?
I played Evan Gattis, Travis D'Arnaud, the Perez guy from Cleveland who didn't do me too shabby. And, oh, I do have a Grandal lineup. Oh, that lineup shit, boys. I got to rely on the Dodgers. But now, like, I got to rely on Seager and Bellinger as well. And I haven't seen any notifications for them.
We didn't mention Lingmerth. You guys don't like him?
I think he's gonna be a little chalky, in my opinion. You
think so?
Yeah, he's got a little word, but not chalky. But I shouldn't use chalky. He'll be like moderate, a little too owned for my liking, so that's why I'm not gonna play him. Plus, I'm not playing enough lineups. So, but yeah, go ahead, ACP. What's your thought?
Yeah, no, I
don't think anyone's in here anymore. To be honest, it's just us.
No, there's still 8 people watching. Yeah. I don't mind Lingmerth. I'm not playing him because I'm doing single, but yeah, I don't mind him. But
I feel you. Yeah. So, I mean, that's honestly pretty much all I got. I still got to make my lineups. Haven't made them yet. Still just getting the statistics here, but yeah, I'm pretty much ready to sign off if you guys are.
That's fine with me, man. It's been good.
I do have one little tidbit here to add. 6 of the last 11 Travelers Champions. This is courtesy of the official PGA website. 6 of the last 11 Travelers Champions have been first-time tour winners.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Yeah,
but for what it's worth, the last guy was Ken Duke. So, fucking.
But I was trying to find out: has there ever been a first timer to win here? In other words, never played the course before, or what's their, what are the stats on that? I guess none of us have that right now. But I wanted to try to find that out because that could help a lot with fades. If guys typically don't do well the first time out here, but I don't know. It's a fairly easy course to navigate, so I don't think that it plays a big role. But if there's a trend going on where a lot of guys are,
I think Bubba won his first year in 2010.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah.
So then I guess that really doesn't matter.
And then he didn't win again until 15. He did have that second in 2010 and the fourth in 2013. But anyway, yeah, guys, I gotta get these lineups. I'm getting real sleepy. So
all right, guys.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure as always.
Still with us. Thanks a lot for hanging out and your input. Appreciate it.
We wouldn't be able to do it without you guys.
Yeah, definitely helps because I always see like info on there I don't even know about, so that's huge because I make my decisions based on this as well. So all right, well, everybody keep it green this week, and we'll do it again next week.
Oh yeah. All right, everybody, take care. And ACP, any final words, man?
Just good luck this week, guys.
Amen.
Yeah,
man.
good luck, everybody.
We are all in the green and not the gray. All right, everybody, take care.